Your Denver Broncos are quietly setting up something massive. It is all starting this week. Sean Payton talking to the media tomorrow at the Combine. We'll hear all about, is he the one who's going to be calling games? Is it Davis Webb? Cannot wait for that. But in this video, we're going to break down how the Denver Broncos are setting up massive improvement to this team and using all three layers of team improvement that are available to them this offseason, and nobody is going to be better at it than us. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me in the algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would smash that like and subscribe button. So already we know how good this team is, that when you look at, no matter how you slice and dice it, the Denver Broncos are one of the best teams in football. PFF reminds us of that as they are ranking out who has the best players on their team already. And you're seeing the Denver Broncos have more players on their top 100 than any other team in the AFC other than the Texans and Colts. And I think that the Broncos are just getting started, because I think this time next year, Bo Nix is going to be on that list. And so we need to improve this team in several key areas. And what Sean Payton is a master at is knowing what are the different ways you can improve the team, and when is it best to use the NFL draft to do that, and when is it best to use free agency, and when is it best to use trades to do that. So if I gave you $1,000 to prepare for the best camping trip, you're going to go and you're going to use that money at different places. You're going to go to the gas station because that's the best place to buy propane, but you're not going to spend all of your money buying Gatorade at the gas station because the markup on it is wild. Of course, you're going to go to Walmart and support our owners and support the Broncos, and that is the best place to get Gatorade. And so that's exactly what the Broncos are going to do, that there are players in this draft where you can find value in free agency that is way better than the value you would get drafting that same exact position, because of how all of that plays out. So in this video, let's break down who are what are we going to improve in, and then when is it best to get that type of position in the draft, and when is it best to get in at free agency. So incredible article here inside of Sports Illustrated that just reminds us of, hey, where are the different places that the Broncos need to improve this offseason, and we'll fly through this very quickly because we all know it already. So obviously, we know the Broncos need to improve it at the running back position, whether that's J.K. Dobbins coming back, whether that's finding drafting a side piece to R.J. Harvey. We're going to talk about that. And is that better in the draft, or is that better in free agency? We're going to talk about, obviously, we need the wide receiver position to upgrade it. We know Courtland Sutton is just getting older each and every year, and that was a position that we didn't have all of our guys healthy towards the end of the season, with Pat and Troy Franklin both ending the season not playing those games. Obviously, we know we need to improve the tight end room. Evan Ingram flashed a lot, but we didn't see Evan Ingram do what we were hoping he was going to do, and I think I know why that is. And then lastly, we know that offensive tackle, that we just continue to get older with Garrett Bowles probably only has 2-3 good years left in him, and is that a position the Broncos want to improve? And then as it sits right now, the Denver Broncos only have Dre Greenlaw as the inside linebacker who is under contract right now. And so as Sean Payton and George Payton take over the Combine in Indianapolis this week, they're thinking about all of this, but they know that they've got that $1,000 to spend, and they're not going to spend it buy Gatorade at a gas station. They know that their money for certain positions goes further in free agency, and then you can find steals in the draft at certain positions. And let's talk about what some of those things are. So an incredible article here by Luca Evans in the Denver Post, where he goes through and ranks who are the prospects that he's going to be keeping an eye on at the Combine. And I'm going to tell you which of these positions make me hyped and yes, that is where you get this position, and which of them I'm pump your brakes, Luca. I'm not sure if that's where I want Broncos drafting with number 30. So diving in here, first off, all of the scouts say this is not the deepest class they have ever had, but that actually might be advantageous for the Denver Broncos, that you don't have 20 all-American first-round picks that everybody knows about, and they're going to be gone by the time the Broncos get there at 30. Instead, you just say this class is a solid B, and so when you are picking at 30 or 31, Broncos are at 30, you're going to hit a bunch of solid doubles, and I think that's where Sean and George and their ability to scout is really just going to stand out. You've got 16 wide receivers who are in Pro Football Focus's top 100. I think that's a great position because the Broncos could easily get a couple of those guys. Now, here are a couple of the players Luca said he's going to keep an eye on, and I agree with the very first one here, and I'll tell you why here in a second. So his very first player to keep an eye on is definitely Jacob Rodriguez, an inside linebacker out of Texas Tech. Now, a couple incredible things about him, that he was a highly recruited quarterback in high school, ended up being a hybrid joker type position in college, and then finally converted to a full-time inside linebacker and ended up winning the award for the nation's best defensive player. and you take a look at some of his stats, and you're like, oh, and some of his production, and you're like, that is wild. He had over 100 tackles in 14 games, had multiple forced fumbles, I think like 9 or something like that. And you just see a player who is reading the defense, reading the quarterback's eyes. You see crazy picks from this guy. We're going to take a look at like his athleticism after an interception there. Insane talent. And you think about putting him next to Dre Greenlaw, sign Stranad on like a cheap deal, and that is a linebacking core that all of a sudden this defense has no problems. See right there where you strip a ball and say, you're not the running back anymore. I'm the running back, and I'm going to go score with that ball. And so I think under the leadership and the just the attitude that Dre Greenlaw brings, a guy who flies around the field and in 14 college games had over 100 tackles. That, like, it's impressive if you're an NFL player and you have 100 tackles. In a 17-game season, doing it in 14 games is wild. And the type of tackles, like this guy it brings a level of nastiness to him that is absolutely phenomenal. So getting Rodriguez would have me over the moon and excited. And I know all of Denver wants us to just like go offense in here. And I want to improve this offense, but I just do not think the NFL draft is the place to do this in the first round. And here is exactly why. That we all agree the Denver Broncos need an inside linebacker. Well, here is the crazy thing that the best inside linebacker right now in free agency is without a doubt Devin Lloyd. We've shown highlights of him and like what a stud he is. Well, the reason the Jacksonville Jaguars are not going to get Lloyd is that he is looking like he is going to be like a $25 million per year contract. So for the Broncos to go out and get the best inside linebacker in this entire free agency, they would be dropping $25 million per year against the cap. That eats up a huge chunk of our cap, which reduces other moves that we can do. And so the next player that Luke Evans says, hey, let's keep an eye on him, is going to be Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from University of Oregon. I'm wildly excited watching his highlights, but I don't think this is where the Broncos make this move here. And let's look at the highlights from him, and then I'll tell you why I think that is like buying Gatorade at a gas station when you could go down and get it way cheaper at Walmart here in a second. But you look at, obviously, we're going to take a look at this first play. This just blew up Twitter, and they call him the Flying Duck. Obviously, another Oregon Duck, a guy who's got familiarity with Bo. Bo loves him. He loves Bo Nix, and just crazy, crazy athleticism. This highlight alone, I think I've accounted for 1,000 of the 10 million views of this on Twitter, and like a crazy, crazy athlete. And then a ton of his highlights are actually him as a very competent, above more than just competent lead blocker, just brings a level of nasty and like really trying hard in a way that you don't see a lot of college athletes do this type of stuff. That he is truly he's a great blocker, he's a great pass catcher, and he could be a phenomenal fit. And again, I just look at this highlight here. Right? That should be a loss of 2 on this play, right? And he just shakes off this defender and takes that tight end screen for way, way more yards than it was supposed to be, and absolutely scores a touchdown on it. So you can't help but be wildly stoked about him and like what he could be. But we got to also remember, what is the positional value of tight end? And so what they're saying is that David Njoku, who's a very, very comparable tight end comparison to Kenyon Sadiq, his deal right now, they're saying the projections from him could be as low as a $2 or a $4 million base salary, that with an escalator all the way up to $10 million a year. And so you were talking about the difference between, getting Lloyd at $25 million a year, or getting a tight end like Njoku at $2 million to $10 million worse. So he has half of the money in free agency to go out and get your tight end in free agency. And this is why you've just got to love that it is Sean Payton making these decisions, because he is going to know, all right, yes, I'm very excited about this incredible tight end talent, and that's awesome. But could I get just as good of a tight end at a fraction of the cost, and then use my NFL draft pick to get me a guy who in free agency would cost me $25 million? So it is all a math game at this point, that Sean Payton is going to use the NFL draft, he's going to use NFL free agency, and he's going to use the trade block to upgrade this team and know exactly where you are going to get bang for your buck. It's all he's done since he got to Denver. It's how he got this team to the playoffs twice, despite the biggest dead cap hit in NFL history. And that is why you are just got to be wildly excited. Cannot wait to hear what he says tomorrow. Let me know in the comments, like, how would you feel if the Broncos draft the best defender in the first round again? Would that make you totally bummed out? Or do you kind of understand that how Sean Payton is playing this game is, where do I find the difference-making player at the best value so that I can just load these up? Because you could end up with like getting Rodriguez, a fantastic inside linebacker, and then David Njoku, and basically you've upgraded both positions. Whereas if you use your NFL draft and you get Kenyon Sadiq, then in free agency, your options are way lower to get another inside linebacker. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it. Can't wait to read the comments and see what all y'all think, but it's going to be a phenomenal week because the Broncos are so back and we got a ton to believe in. Woo! The ball don't lie.